Well, welcome back to Shed Tune, and I'm back in the garage with the TS1 engine. So this is part 2, and in the last episode I think I said to you that what I was going to do today was show you how I port the cases, match it to the barrel, and I've got 2 ways of doing it for you. Right, so as I said, I was going to show you how I do the porting on these engine cases to match the TS1 barrel. Now, what we need to do obviously is put the barrel onto the case like so. And what I tend to do, to be honest with you, before we even get that far, is put a couple of studs in. And the reason I put a couple of studs in is it lines it up properly. So I've cleaned the threads on the studs so I can just twiddle them in with your fingers. Obviously the easier it is the better. And then we can start marking things out before we start cutting anything and getting things horribly wrong, which I'm sure none of us are going to do. So inlet at the top, exhaust port at the bottom, and there we go. Straight in. So as you can see, you now have a view of where that port on this side is. I don't know if you can see this where my finger is, and how much potential meat could come out. So what I do is I get a Sharpie, take the end off, and literally, as you can see, colour these bits in. Colouring by numbers. There you go. Same with this bit this side, to make sure that that whole port is open. Now when it comes to the other side, as in this side, it's a bit trickier, so you've got to get creative. So you can either come in from up here, not that you can see that, or from the inlet side, but basically you get the idea. And once it's all marked out on there, you can take it off again. There again. So we've done the easy bit, which is marking these bits, which I'll show you here. See, there, and then also there and there. But what we've also got to do is see where the ports need adjusting on here. And the easiest way of doing that is to get a big gasket. I've got a really thick spacer which I use for my porting, and typically, as you can see there, it's roughly where all the ports need to be. And what we then do is put this on top of here with your studs in, idiot, even that way round. Lucky I'm not thick in it. And then colour it in again. See what we've done there? And there. And now what you've done is you've marked all your ports where you want to port them or cut them. Right, so now you've marked everything up, what most people do is get your Dremel out and start cutting. But if you're not used to using a Dremel, obviously this is really soft metal and it's really easy to catch the Dremel with a cutting bit and get flung all over the place and make a real pig's ear of it. So there is another way of doing it, which I'll show you with this little handy kit that I bought off of Amazon. So what I bought, after chatting to Daryl Taylor, he said to me, if you've never cut before, then what you should do is get yourself a straight file like so. Then you can make sure that the edges that you do are nice and straight, okay, and there, and so on and so forth. And then a round file like this to do the corner bits, to make sure that they're nice and round, and then just blend them in nicely. So that's one method we're going to do. The other one obviously is with the Dremel, because we like the Dremel because it's got a bit of power and I get really excited. The idea is to make the flow from these ports into the barrel as smooth as possible. So for me, it's more like what we call blueprinting. So I'm literally going to remove there as much as I can and just flow it up to the top. Now on this bit here, very close to that stud hole, and when I was talking to Mr. Taylor, he said, make sure I tell you, you don't have to go mad. Just a little tiny bit here. Otherwise, when you put your gasket on, it's got a tendency to leak. So there you go. You can thank Darryl Taylor for that. Now, in all seriousness, a quick safety tip. If you're going to be using a Dremel on porting, there's be bits of metal flying everywhere, so you need to protect your eyeballs because you've only got, well, hopefully you've got two. So I take safety very, very seriously. So I've got some eye protectors that I wear when I'm doing this sort of stuff. Obviously, I'm not an idiot. I value my eyes. If I was welding, I'd be using different ones because obviously they'd be stupid wearing these. There you go, for welding. These swimming goggles are universal. Right, so I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of expert tuners out there that are going to watch this and say, Russ, you're talking out your behind. I normally do, to be honest with you. But haven't you missed a bit? The very important mag housing. So, you're right, I have missed out the mag housing, and that indentation there, obviously when it's in, normally comes out of that port. But for what we're doing, I'm not going to bother too much. I might give it a little flow a little bit later on, but at this very moment in time, I'm not going to bother. This is the standard port, obviously, and the configuration. Once we take a bit of meat out of here and out of here, as I say, what I'm not going to do is go mad trying to port everything. So I'm literally just going to blend it from the edge of there down to here, edge of here down to there, and so on. And the same with this one, just so that it flows up into the barrel nicely. So this is my little selection of bits for my Dremel, which hangs nicely there so that I can work away. And we're going to be using a cutting one to start with, which is probably that one or that one. They're my favourites. And then we'll see about maybe polishing it a bit. I'll set the Dremel up. I've got all of this in. It'll be a bit noisy, so forgive me. And as you can probably see here, I'm going to start on the top lip, just blend it in all the way around, being really, really gingerly around this stud hole. So here we go. Now this is probably going to be a bit boring, so I'll time lapse this and hopefully you'll be able to see what I do. I just take a little tiny bit at a time just to get the outline of where it's got to go, and then that way, if you do it a bit at a time, if you make a slight mistake, then you're not trying to put big chunks back in, because you won't be able to unless you can alley weld. Right, so we've stopped just to put the old gasket on to make sure we haven't gone too mad around here, which that looks about right for the minute. And as you can see, you haven't got to go mad. It's just a case of trying to blend so that it flows up. Now obviously I've got to do a bit more work on this edge and this edge here, but apart from that, that's coming along nicely. But as I say, just take your time, keep checking, and you'll be fine. So it's coming along nicely. I'll put the studs back in just to double check stuff. You don't need to go right up to the line on this, because what we'll do is we'll get a little sanding disc out and just make it nice and smooth and blend that in a bit better after we've done all the cutting. But once I've done all the cutting, I'll show you the end results. Slight problem. I burnt the Dremel out. Oh dear. Oh, look at the smoke. Oh well, I'll have to get a new one. Barrel on just to check things, to make sure it's going where we think it's going, and as you can see from this one up here, it ain't far away. A bit more shaping, a bit more polishing, and that'll be fine. And then the other side, this side, as you can probably see, that ain't far away either. Again, a bit of polishing, etc. And then hopefully you'll be good to go. The Dremel's turned up, and there you go, a bit more cleaning up, done that. You notice there's a little mark there. That's where the Dremel caught and went across, and that's what we were talking about earlier. But if we put the barrel on now, you'll see that everything is about right. There you go. So let's show you in here again. There we go, see, that's nicely flowed. And then from this side, that'll do there as well. Just a case of cleaning everything up and giving it a polish. Right, that's all the work done on these cases, and obviously I know it's a very short video, it's 10-12 minutes long, whatever it is, but this porting has probably taken a good couple of hours, so just bear that in mind if you can have a go yourself. Next job on the list is to clean these cases thoroughly before we start building anything, and in fact I'm going to paint these cases because I can't afford to get them powder coated, but they will look the part, I promise you. How are we going to do this? Well, in the next video I'll show you how to vapor blast cases at home without getting caught by the wife using a dishwasher. Honestly, it's a dark art. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Give it a like, a subscribe, drop some comments below, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.